Hi everyone, just a super quick one from me today. I filmed a process video for my project Life of 2020 for June, and I totally forgot that I had filmed it, and I recently came across the footage and thought I better put together a little video for you. So it's super quick, it's just one double page spread, but I thought you would still like to see it, and I'm pretty happy with how the page turned out. So first of all, I wanted to acknowledge the Black Lives Matter movement in some way. So I printed off this meme thing that was going around the internet and used the letters BLM just to acknowledge what happened, and at a later date I'm going to go back and put a timeline of events in as an insert and talk through what happened and how the people around me were feeling and how I was feeling and the research that it encouraged me to go on and do, and the things I learned. And yes, that's something I do a lot. I will film my spread, but then I'll go in and add extra journaling later or extra inserts later, and you'll have seen that if you have watched any of my album flip throughs. The photo in the top left, I don't know if I actually do anything with that. I took that the day that we postponed our wedding for the first time, so I was actually really emotional in the picture, and I was wearing my Disney ears around the house just to cheer myself up, you know, as you do. I'm not sure if I go back and do anything with that later, but this photo that I've just put some enamel dots on was documenting leaving the house by myself for the first time since the pandemic started, since before the pandemic started, to be honest, because I was in hospital before the UK went into lockdown, and I had been really ill before that. So this was my first trip out of the house on my own in a really long time, and it was to go to the doctors. I was going for some blood tests, and I sent something off at the post office at the same time, and so I took pictures of the signs that were in the door about the COVID rules and the markings on the floor in the shops, because it was the first time I had seen any of it, and this was in June, so the pandemic was unfortunately in full swing by this point, and I still hadn't been out anywhere apart from in the car. I did some journaling about all of that on that little card that says June at the top, and those letters are some thickers that I got in a set. One side is multicoloured and one side is pale pink, and they are stunning. I got them in Hobbycraft, and I'm definitely going to get some more. That piece of ephemera that I've just put down is from a collection by Paige Evans. It says Let's Stay Home, which is obviously apt. These are the new invites that I had printed for the wedding, which unfortunately are null and void again. In total, we've spent about £130 on wedding invites, and none of them are any good now because our wedding has been changed again for a third time. It was meant to take place in April, and it's now been pushed to our wedding anniversary in 2022. We're going to have a vow renewal instead, and it's going to be wonderful. But at the time, we'd moved it to April, so that was what I was documenting here. And we were toying with the idea of still having our legal ceremony. So you can see I've got my wedding ring there. I've got some wedding shoes that I bought because we were, like I say, we were toying with the idea of still going ahead with the wedding in August, just having our legal ceremony. And obviously that is what ended up happening. But at the time, I didn't know that. That little collage of photos on the left was for Father's Day. There's some of my favourite pictures of me as a baby with my dad. And I'm just making another journal card here. So it's just a card with, it's either a dot grid or a grid or lines or something on it. And I've just stamped the date onto a label and popped it at the top. I'm using some more of those tiny letters to spell out #yes, because I finally found the perfect wedding ring to go with my engagement ring. And this is a picture from my brother's birthday. So in the summer, you were allowed to meet people outside, and my brother celebrated his birthday in June. So we had pizza outside in my parents' garden, and I was really getting poorly by this point. I remember I basically had to drag myself there and could barely eat a slice of pizza. My Crohn's was really playing up. And as you can see from these photos I'm documenting now, I know they're kind of off screen, but I ended up going into the emergency unit at hospital and being put on a liquid diet because my new treatment had to be postponed because I had an infection. So 2020 was not a good year for my health, I'll tell you that, which you'll know if you follow my vlogs. But yeah, I was journaling here about my treatment being postponed and how devastated I was that that had happened. I couldn't believe that something else had got in the way of my new treatment. And I think by the end of June, we had pretty much decided that we were going to go ahead with the wedding. with just a handful of witnesses. And so my motivation was trying to get better in time for the wedding, and it was just such a stressful time. I've just realised why I had to make this smaller, and it's because my NHS number is at the bottom. I constantly put my hospital tags into these videos and then forget and have to crop them out. So sorry you couldn't see much of that bottom row, but here is the finished spread. That "please shut up forever," by the way, is a joke about the mask. It wasn't me actually telling somebody to shut up. It was about having my mouth covered. But yeah, so that's the left side and this is the right side. It was a super simple one and came together so quickly, but I love how it turned out with these colours and the embellishments that I used. I honestly think it's one of my favourite spreads in the whole of my 2020 album so far. And if you want to see my 2020 album so far, I actually flipped through it in my recent vlog, which you will see in a couple of weeks. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed this spread, guys. See you next time. Bye.